CW. You famous, Brody. At least as far as Dragon Clap TV here at the channel. Now, I want to start doing segments where we talk about some of the opinions had by people in the comments. CW to a video that I made saying, how far does Baby make it in Dragon Ball Super? Or at least I asked this question. He says, if he body snatches someone like Vegeta or Goku, then he gets pretty effing far. Okay, so my response was thanks. But based on Trunks being able to expel Baby in GT, Goku and Vegeta would automatically be able to expel him due to how much stronger they actually are, as well as Spirit Vision making it impossible for Baby to possess anyone. I tell him I appreciate the support. Now, he says Trunks was only able to expel Baby in his weakest form shortly after they met him. Their second encounter with Baby, I think, as Baby hopped from body to body, he became ferociously more powerful in an incredibly quick amount of time. There is his hive mind ability. Now, I'm not saying Baby automatically wins. I'm saying if he isn't stopped before a certain point, it's going to take someone like Beerus to smoke him. Okay, so I said thanks. Trunks was able to expel Baby because of his own power in comparison to Baby's, whereas in Dragon Ball Super, to destroy the entire universe with a single punch is a feat that happened before Goku's base form even caught up with that level of power directly after. Goku and Vegeta have trained together, which never happened in GT, and in the Room of Spirit and Time at that, multiple times. The Room of Spirit and Time, actually, I just want to add, has actually been enhanced in Dragon Ball Super, where they can now spend 3 years at a time in there, where they can now go in again, like the slate was wiped clean. And, okay, I said they've trained with Whis and in an improved time chamber. This time chamber I'm referring to is basically what they come to the conclusion that Beerus trains inside. Like Beerus was like, go ahead and show them, Whis, right? And so they said, we got to figure out where Beerus keeps his food at so that we don't starve, right? So this improved version of the Room of Spirit and Time, where you can't even move unless you've got to a certain level of this key optimization, where Vegeta figured it out, told Goku figured it out, and they were able to move. They've spent time in there. There's never been a Goku training with Vegeta in Dragon Ball GT. It just never happened, let alone all these circumstances, right? So I say they have barriers that prevent even poison from touching their skin, and Vegeta has Spirit Vision. Baby would be expelled even if he got lucky. If he got lucky, he would just get expelled. Okay, because honestly, with the expertise that these guys have, now look, we could always have the conversation of, hey, maybe Baby's infection is, or his infectability is superior or harder to deal with than Super Boo's forced ingestion. But the way Vegito made it sound was, shoot, if you ain't no stronger than me when you jump in, I know Baby grows stronger, but here's the thing. Baby was snacking on a lot of people, okay? And in actuality, he didn't ever become, he needed Vegeta's body to be as strong as he was, and the Super Saiyan 4 marked him out. A Super Saiyan 4 Goku that was still having issues using Super Saiyan 3. And people are like, well, he was in a child body. And I'm like, so is Vegeta in the canon. These guys are so much further ahead of GT that Vegeta didn't have any stamina issues, even though he had just become a Super Saiyan 3 sometime after the Buu saga, like less than a year after the Buu saga. They turn him into a kid, which if you recall, everybody kind of went through the same process. When they got first turned into a kid, they barely could even move normally. It took a little bit, and then they had to slowly get used to the body, and then that's when they're like, okay, start to get used to the body. Well, Vegeta goes through the same process and makes it clear that I'm still not used to being in this age-reversed body yet. I'm still not used to it. Plus, the differences in my limitations in this body also. So there's also the thing of when you get put in that body, they were actually reduced, and yet they were still exceeding GT's limitations. GT Goku was struggling to use instant transmission in certain instances. Super Saiyan 3 was too much for him until a certain point in time where he got that tail pulled, I believe, right? Vegeta just outdoes it. He don't have the listen, I know in the canon that ain't validated as something that actually means something. They could come up with any nonsensical idea in GT because it's not connected to the canon. So where they actually, I think, had a massive strength where they could have came up. Well, I mean, I don't think Toriyama would have gave them approval to just do anything. I think everything they did was based on whether or not Toriyama would allow that regardless, because you're playing with toys out of his toy box, as I've explained before. But when I look at Dragon Ball GT and I look at this Goku and he's struggling with things that this Vegeta isn't even struggling with, and I'm like, this is Dragon Ball Daima. When I see that Super Saiyan 4 looks like it's Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 from GT, like, why is the hair red, right? And that's the same question people asked when they saw it in Daima. That actually flashed back to me. Like, nigga went, that's so Raven. I didn't watch that show, by the way. I ain't watched none of that shit. It still flashed back to me to, wait a second, this is the same question niggas asked in Dragon Ball GT. Why is Gogeta's hair red? And, we just had to settle on the fact that this is an entirely different level of power that is, because their hair colors combined together do not equal red. So it just had something to do with the level of power. Now, that doesn't mean that we accept anything somebody comes out of their head with. If you try to tell me that Goku's body gets bigger because the dragon, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna immediately dump out all credibility that I recognize that you have. I don't think you have none now if you tell me that, because that was never stated in universe. You came up with that. You came up with that. That's not something that you can just come up with on your own and say, yep, that's what happened. That's a lot. Okay? That would mean that if you were revived and if you grow too strong, then boom, you wouldn't be alive no more. No, when the dragon makes a wish happen, it happened. It's not that the dragon is following you around. He applied it to you. It's not that the dragon, if he messes around and sneezes, then it goes inactive for a quick little bit. That's not how it works. The revived people don't just immediately die again if the Namek Elder dies, if the Dragon Balls go inert. The balls are inert if that happens, right? So, come on, y'all. But when we really talk about Baby's lack of ability to do anything in this situation, these guys are massively strong. You are never even going to get close. You are never going to be able to retain being in their body, because we've already seen someone like Trunks in GT with absolutely no growth, with absolutely no feats of achievement, with nothing, was able to expel you out. Over here, we got Goten and Trunks sparring Broly in base form. We got Goten and Trunks fighting Beast Gohan. We got Goten and Trunks is doing stuff. They valid. You may not like it, but they're valid. Everybody over here, it don't matter. You're getting expelled. You will not be able to, and like I said, I gave it more credit than forced ingestion, since, he's kind of technological and I understand that he's attempting to grow stronger through body to body and body, but there isn't enough bodies on that planet to produce the level of power that you would need to do this. Plus, Vegeta has spirit fission, so you just can't do it at all. And I think that that's actually the best part. The best part is that, first off, we know it never happens in any odds, in any probability, does he ever manage to keep anybody's body. He really ain't even going to possess nobody unless he go visit Yamcha. I really think them niggas was having fights, though, was fighting in the Moro arc. I think Baby might get packed up. I just honestly think Baby might get packed up. I think he might get packed up. I think if Baby ain't careful, Roshi will put his ass in the Mafuba. Stop playing around. They love talking about the intricacies of this, but when I think about the suggestion that GT Baby is supposed to be a problem for Super when they're as strong as they are, when Spirit Fission is sitting right over there, it ain't never going to take someone like Beerus. It ain't never going to take someone like Moro. It ain't never going to take Jiren or Cauliflower or Kale or Cabba. It ain't going to take nobody in Dragon Ball Super to pack Baby out. You struggled with people that the canon has identified Super Saiyan 4 as a massively inferior form than, and like I said, GT's Super Saiyan 4 is the black hair Super Saiyan 4. That's a grade under. Like, They're actually mad because Toriyama just went way above everything. Like, hey, that Golden Uzaru mask trash. Hey, that this, that, and the third trash. Hey, that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta look. And I think that's what he had in his mind, was he was deciding between, hey, do I Super Saiyan 4 likeness the GT normal level or the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta level? And I think he thought people were more hype about this, but it actually plays backwards. But I think he actually took that into consideration, because he did this in a way that was meant to make you guys accept it. But we've had multiple conversations about that, so I won't rehash that. What I will say is that if Baby attempts to so much as look at anybody's body, he's going to get packed out immediately. Yeah, he's going to get packed out so damn fast. I mean, they skin tight barrier themselves to not allow him to jump in. They're massively strong. So once he tries that and he gets expelled, it'll never happen again. If it ever happens, in the first place. Plus, Baby ain't exactly the smartest person. He jumped in Vegeta's body, and that was the greatest amount of power he thought and that was in GT. Come on, y'all. Y'all tell me how y'all feel.